time. This is progress. Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Michelle, and it's my pleasure to lead us all here at the Hummingbird Assembly, where our intention is to stimulate thought, create connection, and expand consciousness. We are an assembly of people who will teach each other to find the miracle of joyful living from life's circumstance to accomplish that which seems impossible. Every week we have announcements at the start. The first thing I want to mention is that in the center of the table this week we have a lovely fruit platter. I want to give a big shout out to Holly Crescent. They donated this to us this morning, so please indulge. And yes, and thank you very much to Sue and Roger of Holly Crescent. In the center of the table, along with the fruit, you'll also see our old standbys of the white box and the green box. The green box, in my opinion, is the most important. It's where I ask you to put your thoughts and ideas, things that you would like to discuss. Good morning, good morning. And I think there's not a pen in the box right now because it's right here in my hand. But if you want to make a suggestion, please do. There are little pieces of paper. Oh, there is one. So maybe this one is from the donation bin. In the white box is where we collect our donations to support the costs of the growing church and to pay for the space that we're in. There are envelopes in there. Some of them are blank, some of them have your name on them. If you'd like to make a contribution, and with the hopes we'll get our charitable status and be able to offer receipts, please put your name on an envelope and we'll track your donations. The other thing I wanted to share is that we are in the midst of collecting awakening stories. If you want to share your story about how you came to find us, you're welcome to do so. We have received a few. Thank you very much for those of you who have contributed. The email address to send them to is admin@hummingbirdAssembly.com. That's admin@hummingbirdAssembly.com.
What if I'm just not there yet? I don't know.
Then you don't have to write anything.
Okay.
But you could write something about, Janet posted a really great link, and I was thinking that perhaps I would steal it and post it again on the Hummingbird Assembly page about the stages of awakening. So perhaps you can find like where you're at, and it might be useful in this process of writing your story, your journey so far. So is that okay with you, Janet, if I?
Sure.
Okay.
I just stole
Thank
from
you.
somebody else.
I know. But I like to give credit.
I should start to do that.
All right. And so now that all of the business is out of the way, I would invite us all now to begin with our opening intention. You notice it's all branded. Here, can I take this for a sec? Look, internet. We have a logo. And then on the other side, we have like our Hummingbird Assembly name and all that. Okay, thank you. Welcome. Hi, friends.
I saw you were going to be here, so I said,
just add to my calling here. All right, so we're just beginning with our opening intention. Please feel free to read along out loud or just to read silently in your head with us. May I come to understand that blessings are everywhere, that my attitude will affect outcomes, that challenges are often gifts in disguise. May I come to trust that most things can get better with time, that my instincts and gut feelings have value, and that a positive attitude makes things go smoother. May I come to see that I have many skills and talents I can use, that I am a positive influence on many people, and that there are those around me who wish me well. May I come to value that today is a blessing to be enjoyed, that each person is unique and important, and that each moment of my life has meaning. Our discussion topic for today is one that we actually discussed a few weeks ago, and your erstwhile facilitator forgot to post the link and forgot to hit record. And there were only a few people in the room, so I thought you'll all think it's a new topic. But it was a really interesting topic, and we had really great conversation. So I thought that it would be a good time to revisit it. So the statement that we are discussing today is this: when we spend all of our time complaining, we are in essence in constant destroy mode rather than building mode. Anybody have any thoughts on that?
It's true because you're just bringing negative energy.
Sorry?
It's true because you're just bringing in negative energy when you're complaining. And so negative energy just brings more. constantly destroying you.
Because like attracts like.
I would
Yes.
say if you complain all the time, then where's the line? Where are you thankful for whatever it is you got?
Yeah.
You
Right.
know? You're not. Yeah, you wouldn't be thankful ever if you were complaining all the time.
I can't hear you, Kent.
I just complain half the time.
That's better.
You're so positive.
I'm aware of it.
Well, you're halfway there.
You're halfway.
Yeah.
You're at
Right,
what, step
this is
6,
key.
3?
What were you just saying, Mervette? Because I had a thought that I've kind of lost.
I was saying that if you complain all the time, when would you ever be thankful? Or where's the line? Where is it that you're like, oh, finally?
Right.
Like, do you have to win the lottery? And then if you only win $1 million, you're like, well, shit, now everyone's going to come after me.
And half
I
it's
don't
going to
have that much.
taxes.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah.
Just like complaining.
Not enough to
about-
live on. I mean, come on. It's only
Yeah,
$500,000.
Yes, yes. Even if you want $100,
Right.
you know, on a scratch ticket or something.
And your comment, what it reminded me of was the conversation that we had a few weeks ago about if failure is not a success, if failure is not an option, then neither is success. And I think that if we are just complaining about our stuff, we are missing the opportunity to grow. We're missing the takeaways in it. Do you know what I mean?
The lessons,
Yeah.
right? Words are very powerful, and if we are complaining, that's more, to me, and I don't know if this will even make sense, that's more finite, because we've all of a sudden put our reality into this box of being negative. Whereas when we have awareness and we are open-minded, we choose what part of it is positive and then what part we will deem a lesson. But both are really still positive.
Mm.
It's not as closed of a box to me.
Both are so positive. Oh, we have a
Positive
visitor.
and the negative? Or both
Well, there is
positive?
no negative
Because
really.
there's a lesson there and
Yeah.
you're gonna gain from it.
Right.
And it's something that you drew to yourself, generally, is what we say, right? But it's confusing, but we're always in complaining mode. It's different from when negative things are part of your life, because the negative probably called to you
Right.
for your learning, right?
Right.
Maybe when we destroy, we can't create. So maybe the opposite of destruction is creation. So if you're busy destroying your life by complaining, then how can you improve it and create better things in your life?
Mhm.
So maybe it's a, you know, what do they call that? Contrast.
Well, I find that last year was an interesting year for me, and I found that if you are always whining about something, you get more of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Right.
if you have friends that are whiners and complainers, then they suck you into their drama.
Right.
So last year I had brain surgery, and I lost a lot of friends last year because I couldn't do for them anymore. And it was very eye-opening, because you thought, oh, this person would be around for a long time, and after 6 weeks they were gone because I couldn't drive. So on my Facebook, I have only posted for a whole year now positive things, nothing negative, except for my foot thing, but that was a hurt thing. I was reminding people to watch out for diabetic feet, but and my life has changed so much. I've met so many more positive people. I have people I don't even know, and they come up to me and they say, "You're so positive," because I go to the gym, so they come to me at the gym. And if you ask for positive, you're going to get positive.
Right. And the
Absolutely.
reason for that is because, as I always say, and you've heard me a million times,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know
yeah.
that your thoughts are things.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're really like seeds that we are planting. And if all you're planting is what doesn't work and what's not great in your life, you can't expect to be harvesting any joy or happiness.
Yeah.
Because your thoughts are constantly in complain mode.
And when I'm out in public and I'm talking to people, and I'll say, "Well, I have this all the time," and I can hear Michelle say, "No, you used to have that."
Yeah, in the past.
In the past,
Right.
this is what happened to you. In the past.
It's so important because you are creating. And so the complainers, and I think this is the important aspect, because a lot of people, maybe not at this table, but people who are watching this video may be wondering, how is complaining destruction? How is it a destructive behavior? And what I want to say about that is that what we are talking about is what we are creating. And that's why I really encourage the in the past thing, because it's very inauthentic to say, you know, I'm a powerful, successful, rich person, because I don't necessarily feel all of those material aspects. I feel the spiritual and emotional aspects, but not the material aspects. And so I feel that it's an inauthentic statement. But for me to say, you know, in the past, I haven't had access to the resources that I wanted to be able to travel the world forever, is a very true statement. And it sends a message to the universe that says, hey, she wants something different. She wants to change that.
Because I know that I'm not saying, I'm still me, but I have a different way of thinking now. And it's a little more intense than it used to be. So I find that the weight's coming off, my new friends are coming around, and I find that it's more fun. You know, it's like,
Do you think intense meaning deep?
yeah. Like
Do you mean it's not just surface anymore?
Yeah,
it's at a deeper level, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I have stress too in my life, and I have a brother and his girlfriend live with me, but we have good days and we have bad days, and it's been I try to remind myself to keep focused on the positive of it. So, you know, I can come places and go things far. I can go places now because I have a dog, and I can not have to rush home because there's one of 3 people still home. So,
Right.
okay.
And that's a definite blessing, right?
Yeah, I don't have to rush home all the time.
Yeah.
And then leave again. So
Right.
this way there's somebody always home and let the dog out. No accidents.
Right.
We're all good. You gotta make it. You can't just be sitting whining all the time.
Well, you can.
Yeah, but it doesn't get you anywhere. It's a
You
choice.
can.
You
and there are
totally
other
can.
people that do it.
There are
I
a
know,
lot
the
of
drama
people who do
people,
right?
yeah,
And-
drama.
And it's really interesting because I remember shifting from that place, and I would talk about it a lot. And now it's just very natural to just be. And when people in my life are like that, I have a much better, easier time having the boundary to just remove my energy, as opposed to get sucked in and start preaching about, you know, whatever, trying to change it.
Fix it.
That's right. Now I have an easier time just removing my energy completely, and then it just dissipates. So it's like those levels of awareness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think complaining is a very good example of how we change as we become more aware.
So if you are a complainer, how do you change? How do you move from destroy to creation?
Well, you become aware that your words are things. And just that awareness on its own, if you believe it, then all of a sudden you create ownership for yourself.
I would suggest that the step even before that is to acknowledge that what you are complaining about is what you want to change. Because most of us are not even aware. Yeah. Most of us are not even aware of what it is that does not satisfy us in our life. So to become aware of what you are complaining about, a complaint is truly a wish for change. And so once you acknowledge that, okay, I'm complaining about my job and I'm not happy in my job, I have to change my job, oh my God, then you get the fear factor, right? Some people will get the fear factor. How do I change my job? How do I become happier? How do I know it's not going to be worse somewhere else? At least here I know. And then they move back into complacency.
And complaining.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, first, before you go back to complaining about it, you might just say, okay, I choose to accept this because at least it's the devil I know. But then a couple of days go by of the job that you hate and you've decided to stay at and you're complaining about it again because you feel trapped.
That's good. I never thought about it that way. I never really realized that what you're complaining about is what you want to change. I didn't really connect those two things.
Mm-hmm. And it's important because even as people who choose to be, I hesitate to use the word positive because I think that has a lot of connotation that can be negative. Like, I'm not trying to mask anything that's going on in my life. And positivity to me can be a mask. So I choose to be authentic in my life. I forget what I was going to say about change. It's about change and complaining. So even as an authentic person, I'll have moments where I'm complaining. And so what does that mean? It comes back to that fundamental moment of, this is something I want to change. And then we go back to, I think it's the serenity prayer. It's give me the courage to change the things I can. Yeah. And there's something about
Courage,
to accept,
grace, and wisdom. The grace to accept.
the things I cannot, and the wisdom to know the difference. So like, I'm often, yesterday I was really complaining about the weather. Why is it so cold? I want to be wearing my sandals. It's been nice. I have all these dresses. I want to put them on. But I can't realistically change the weather.
You crank up the furnace and put on the sandals and the little dress. Dance in your house.
Well, and you know I would actually. Yeah. But one of the things that we spoke about when we talked about this topic before, that was a real aha moment for people, is this whole idea of, wouldn't it be nice if? Are you familiar with this? It's a spiritual principle and concept. Abraham Hicks talks about it a lot. And when you taking something that you don't like, so for me, example yesterday, the weather, and what you say is, wouldn't it be nice if what you want? So wouldn't it be nice if this didn't bother me anymore? Wouldn't it be nice if, wouldn't it be nice if it was 21 degrees and I could put on my sundress? But is that realistic? Perhaps it is, because my reality is only bound by my own confines, my own limitations. So perhaps it is realistic for me to say, 21 degrees now, I order it. But I didn't go that route. Wouldn't it be nice if this didn't bother me anymore? And just saying that phrase, if everybody can think of one thing in their life that they're not happy with, we all have one thing. It might be that there's no gas in the car. Maybe that was you got up early this morning to be here. Whatever it is that you don't like in your life, just have that thing. You got it? And conversely, what you would like it to be. And so now let us all say, wouldn't it be nice if, and then you silently fill in your blank. Okay, you ready? Wouldn't it be nice if? Did you feel that change in your being?
I think that was the key that you didn't say for people who haven't heard it before. It's not just saying, wouldn't it be nice if I had $1 million? It would be, what are the feelings that you would have if you actually did have that? And then invoking those by saying that, wouldn't it be nice if I had $1 million? Yeah. And then imagining yourself with that, what could you do? Yeah, I feel good. I feel happy. I feel like amazing already right now.
Yeah.
Just thinking about, the feeling that you would have if you had whatever it was. That was I think.
The feelings are important, and you're right, because they're the most significant vibration that the universe attaches to. So when you're having your complaining, the feelings you're creating are unhappy feelings, and that's why the universe is creating more of that for you, because the feeling is more important. The sorrow, the pain, the lack is the feeling. You gonna say something? No, you're just breathing in.
You're loud. Continue breathing.
You give and you give. But there are sometimes too, I wanted to share this with you when you were talking about removing your energy from the person. Sometimes it's not enough to just draw back emotionally. So one of my most effective techniques is that when someone is, we all have people in our life who've called to complain, right? We all have those people. And when those people call and they start to complain, I quite literally set a timer, and they get 3 minutes to complain. And when the timer beeps, I say to them, okay, your time is up. Now you have to tell me 3 good things. And it's highly effective because a lot of those people have stopped calling. So that's a quick way to easily, without thinking about like, what is my energy, and understanding like where you are and what you're feeding, to say, okay, you've got 3 minutes, go, and now you remove it. And those people stop calling. That is removing your energy. But for people who don't really understand what that means, that's what I want to gift that to you. It's really effective. And the reason that I follow it up with 3 good things is because I want you to start creating what you want. And I talk about this often. Many of you have heard me go on and on about my list of 3 good things. And the first thing is always that there are clean panties. Yeah. It's not big stuff. It's little stuff. Aren't you happy that you had clean panties in your drawer this morning? You're looking at me so funny.
Maybe she doesn't wear panties.
I was talking to you because you were making this very strange face. And then often the next thing is that I'm going to have a great cup of tea. It used to be coffee, but I'm not doing that anymore. So I know, right? Shocking.
Yeah.
I'm just in an off phase. It happens. So, your list of good things, when I say to that person on the phone who spent their last 3 minutes complaining about their job or their relationship or their sibling or their pain or whatever it is, it's okay. Now, what are 3 good things? There's nothing good about it. There must be something. Are you wearing clean socks? For those of you who don't wear panties.
Oh, I didn't say I did. I don't wear socks.
It's the little things so that you get them cycling back to what's good in their life.
Some people have a hard time
With what?
With I've asked people to post 3 things they're happy with their life, and there might be only a couple. I have lots of people on my Facebook,
Sure.
And there's only a few people who say anything. It's like,
You have to follow it up with, here are my 3 things.
Yeah.
And I think the reason for that is because most people think, everybody's going to say the same thing. I'm glad for a roof over my head.
I'm glad I'm breathing. And
Right. And those don't feel really authentic because sometimes you're actually not glad that you're breathing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're hurting so much that you just want it to end, and the easiest way is out. That's why I go to those simple things. Like there's a cup of tea. There's a cup of coffee. There are clean panties.
the car started.
The car started. The dog licked my toes when I got up.
Ew.
I am I'm not that person, but some people are that person. Right? I got a hug from my children. That I can see the sun is shining. So if you started the list, what are 3 great things about your life today? Here's my 3.
Try that.
How excited my dog gets when I come home. Because that's true. I've seen your dog when you come
Oh,
home.
yeah,
It's
my
mad.
dog's crazy. She loves me.
Yeah. And who can blame her?
I know.
So is there anything else we want to say about when we spend all of our time complaining, we are in essence in constant destroy mode rather than building mode?
Is there anything like a legit complaint? Like it's, when you know what I mean? Like there's something that's wrong. Like for an example, there's these pylons that are in this intersection for construction that's literally blocking the view when you're turning left of oncoming traffic. And there has been people killed because of this situation, but they still haven't fixed it. Like that's a legit complaint, right? Like there's power and I guess that's more constructive criticism.
And that's when I have that. Wouldn't it be nice if this problem were resolved? Wouldn't it be nice if the sinkhole was fixed or whatever? I missed what the pylons are protecting.
They weren't protecting anything. They're just there as an outline of like where construction is going to happen eventually. Yeah.
Do you live in Durham?
No, this is up in Green Bank area where I used to live, and my brother was complaining about it because his friend's sister had killed a motorcyclist because she didn't see him coming. He didn't see her. And I'm like, she lives with the guilt of that death forever now, right? Yeah. And that's a horrible thing, but this problem still hasn't been fixed.
Well, I find that if I I used to be a constant complainer. People used to call me CC because constant complaining is too loud for them. So, if I live at Salem and 401, and there's so many more cars there now because of the gym. So there's a lot of more accidents.
Oh, Lifetime Fitness.
Lifetime.
Which is
It's a nice gym. I
Yeah.
get there. So what I've done is I've contacted Joe Dixon, who's our boss in our area, and
an MP.
our big guy, whatever. He's in politics or something. And I know him now because I do a lot of networking things. So I email him all the time and say, oh, there's another accident. You need more lefts. You need more lefts, or you need this and need this. Well, he forwards that to other people. So they've actually added more left turns now than they did before because it's calmed down a little bit again. So I find that if I email somebody because phoning them, they forget about it.
So you're talking about being solution focused,
Yeah, being
right?
solution
So instead of
Destructive.
Solution focused.
Some complaints
That's a
are
boardroom bingo term.
Yeah.
It's shifting. It's shifting from the complaint, the legit complaint,
Yeah.
and carrying it through to the
That's
solution.
action oriented.
Yeah.
What would be
Versus just
the ideal?
Because if I'm constantly saying, oh, there's another accident, there's another accident, that's drawing more negative into me. And I'm mad because I can't fix it. Because I can't fix it. But who can fix it?
Mm-hmm.
So I find that if I drive him crazy, eventually, he's going to drive somebody else crazy. And then they will take care of it because I don't have the power to move the pylons or to make the left.
Do you know
turn
that
right.
quote, you think you're too small to be powerful? You've clearly never been in a tent with a mosquito. Right?
I'm a mosquito.
Yeah. I think we all are. Right?
But that's the way I find that helps me by not, if I'm complaining about something, how can I fix it?
do it to the right people.
To the right people, yeah, like how can I?
Well, the
fix it?
complaint is, what do you want changed?
Yeah, what do I want changed? And I want
And
more
how
left
can we
turns.
change it?
I want more left turns
Yeah.
because that's what's causing the accidents.
Well,
'Cause
complaining, to all your friends and all your family, and complain to
Yeah.
that's not accomplishing anything
Yeah.
other
Right.
than,
Because now
everyone
instead of
knows.
complaining, I'm informing Joe that there's a problem and he needs to fix it.
Fix it!
Fix this damn thing. Because I'm right at the corner. I live there.
Yeah.
There's the orange gas station. I'm on the other side. So I hear the fire engine and the police car and all that kind of stuff.
I would say absolutely yes, there are legit complaints. And that's why I was talking off on that tangent about not doing positivity, but doing authenticity. Because I think a positive outlook would tell you not to complain at all. But an authentic outlook honors that you're in pain somewhere. And what are you going to do to change it? Like, the pain is a cry for change. So yes, there are legitimate complaints, but you have to go back to what change is required. And we have to recognize them, because otherwise then we create all kinds of blockages within ourselves and other wounds and other anger, and then it just festers and suddenly you're mad or you're depressed or you're anxious or whatever happens. There was something, who shared it? Maybe a bunch of you did. Oprah was talking about what is the next right step. Did we see that video? I don't know. I watched a lot of people share it. Anyway, that's a very powerful question. Because when you get into that legitimate complaint, I'm not happy in my job. I want to change it. I have all of this fear around it. How do I move forward? The question to ask is, because we don't always have the answer, the question to ask is, what is my next right step? And then you'll have a thought. And the thought might be, get a sandwich. And it will seem random, but you need to eat. Like Matt Kahn was talking about, if you're going to destroy the world, you have to at least have a sandwich. Like, you need to be satiated to take on the world. And as we keep asking that question, we will continue to have these little nudges about how we can make the change that we're seeking. Sometimes we think the job is the problem, but it's not really not the job. Sometimes it's not the job. Sometimes the problem is how you're perceiving the rest of your world, and the wound is actually way over here and you didn't even know that that was it. And when you fix that, the job is not the problem anymore.
Yeah, but it could also not be the job, it could be the people you're working with.
It could be a whole lot of things.
I'm with her.
It could be what?
I'm with her. I know it's not my job. Like, I'm in this situation with a couple aspects of my life, baseball, my job. I know my life has to change in order for me to go forward on my path. And I'm in the midst of changing friends, and my job has been a big worry to me because I'm not happy. I love the job. I love certain guys I work with. The work is fabulous. I don't need to go to the gym. You can see it's my job.
Because you're at your job.
And what you just said is something that I've thought about, and something that obviously I'm going to have to change, because I have a few people that I was going to say work with, but they don't work. They're just there.
Slackers. Right.
And it really. See, I just feel
Angst. Yeah.
talking about it drives me insane. And
Yeah.
I have to change this in order for me to enjoy my job, or I'm going to leave something.
So what do you have to change?
Um,
The way you respond to it, or like the job itself?
Well, that's one, because I let these people know that I'm not happy, and they know I'm not happy. I have to, I don't know, I have to let them be on their own and let what they do or lack thereof not affect me.
Yeah.
And just worry about my job, and hopefully the powers that maybe see it and do something about it. It's been over a year now. So I've got to change the way I think and perceive what they're doing. Try to see some positivity in them, which I've tried to do. Sorry, it's true. I tried.
We discussed this at the beach last year. I
I was
remember.
thinking
Yeah.
that.
I remember when we were talking about reflecting.
Oh, well, look at that. So you did change something.
Went from 1 to 2.
Expansion.
Well, some of the thing is that you have to throw them down the stairs or anything, so.
Oh, yeah.
They have to build the stairs first.
Well,
You have to
Petra.
go stairs first.
Just saying.
So true.
Well, why don't you just throw a video?
Don't need me.
But it comes back to what you're talking about. It's always the same wound, right? And the feelings that they are evoking in you are probably been with you from various other parts of your life.
We've been through this. I've tried to sit and figure out what their reflection,
Yeah.
or what I'm reflecting, what I'm
Well,
seeing.
we can talk about it
and
offline.
me,
Yeah.
right?
I have an idea. We can talk about it offline
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
because it's personal stuff, right? And you don't want that on the internet.
No.
You know what? It's all in how you perceive it, and what they perceive is their own. So it doesn't matter.
So you want me just to talk?
No.
Okay. That's what I thought. But it is always the same wound, and the responses that are pulled out of us we were talking briefly before this all started about the subconscious programming that just gets engaged. And you don't know when you've been triggered, and you don't know what the trigger was, but suddenly you are that 4-year-old child having the response that you had when you were 4. The 2-year-old throwing the temper tantrum in Walmart. It's always the inner child, you guys, and it's always the same issue.
How did you know I did that?
Pardon me?
I've done that.
Oh.
I've done that as a little kid. I've done that.
The inner child work, you mean?
Screaming, yeah.
Oh, the screaming yell. Haven't we all?
Yeah, I've done it.
I did it last week,
Oh.
but I was 41 being the 4-year-old, right?
In Walmart?
It's a good question. No.
I did it when they closed Target. I had a meltdown.
In where?
When they closed Target, I had a child meltdown.
We were all very sad.
It's very sad, yes. It's funny, doesn't it all go back to our awareness, though? A friend and I talked recently about various people in our lives, and we always sort of come back to the same thing. How can they continue doing this? And I think it all comes down to awareness. They're programmed that way, and they're totally unaware of the fact that that is how they...
So what do you mean?
When it comes to complaining, when it comes to negativity, when it comes to self-destruction, like all of it, if you're not aware, you can't change it. And I've seen it in family members. I've seen it in friends. You have to, that awareness must come to you. And if it doesn't come to
How
you,
does it
you're not
come?
going, I don't know.
Do you seek it,
Through
or does it
grace,
seek
through the
you?
grace of the divine, I don't know. That's been a topic I've pondered for a long time. How does it come? Because my awakening seemed to have been a very spontaneous move. It wasn't something I was seeking. It just happened.
Because you were ready for it.
I was ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody.
I think
But it
that's the
was very
key.
spontaneous.
I think that's the key. That you can't be aware before you're ready to move forward.
And in the stages that I shared, the very first one was having a dissatisfaction in your world, in your life. And it's that dissatisfaction that's probably you've thought of many, 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 many times. And then one day you think, you know what, I need to change this. This has been going on far too long. And that seemed to be the first step
Awareness.
of awareness.
Awareness, yeah.
Is recognizing that you've complained about the same thing for 20
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
and you don't want to do that anymore. And that was, I remember, the first step.
Well, you suddenly become very aware. When those thought processes come into your mind, you're aware of them and you change it instantly.
And I would say too, as someone who considers herself awakened, when someone comes to me who is constantly complaining, I feel that part of my job as a lighthouse on this journey is to point out that they're constantly complaining, to bring them to their awareness. And then they can make the choice. This is why I set the timer. Like, you get 3 minutes, and then you can choose, do you want to change or not? Those who want to change, call now and don't
I really like
complain. And those who do not want to change, just don't call now.
I think that's what got me out of the complaining thing. Like, someone I wasn't even hanging out with, and I had just seen like once a year or whatever, like, when we go to a bar or whatever, you sort of like, do you have anything good to say about life right now? And she's like, shit, I must be like really complaining. Like, I didn't even realize that you're just like so.
Because you don't realize it. You're
And then
exactly
it's like-
right.
It's
Yeah.
programmed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I just sort of just like and you start overthinking that, and it's like, wait a minute, and just sort of like everything you're analyzing, everything you say, and just that's sort of how you begin change. I think just making that statement, because people don't even realize they're doing that, because whether they're being raised that way, like constant complainers, or just life's just sort of handed some bad situations, you just couldn't get out of that rut. But like, just calling it out.
And if you're wondering why you keep attracting people who are always complaining, it's because you need to be pointing out that they're complaining.
I pointed out that someone is a big complainer, and there was nothing that came from that.
Pardon me?
I know somebody in my family that I was like, okay, you know, you're just like complaining like this and this and this, like your life sucks, right? Like, wow, you know. And she's like, well, no. I'm like, well, you just keep complaining. No, I don't. I'm just saying that blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, la, la, I don't, you know, like, stop. Just you complain more and more and more. No, I'm not.
And that's when you just have, they've made their choice
Yeah.
that they do not want to be aware, right?
Not ready.
What were you going to say?
Yeah.
I have a client, and I don't think she's aware that she everything she complains about, and I find that the energy kind of gets really heavy, and I'm just like, I just don't like this. I can't wait for her to leave, but I can't. I
What
would
you can say is,
feel-
can you give me 3 good things?
But she doesn't even know. She's not even aware of it. I don't
That's
want
how
her
you
to
make her
get
aware.
upset with me.
She won't get upset with you. Okay, what are 3 good things about your day? What? Did you have a cup of coffee?
I find that
It's a
it
redirection.
must trigger something in me, though. That's what I'm just learning right now. That her complaining and me feeling the way I do, just wanting her to get out, it must trigger something in me.
Well, it may, yeah. It may be triggering you.
The child.
You can turn
Yeah.
it around though if you acknowledge, oh wow, I'm sorry that happened to you. What are 3 good things then?
Yeah.
It's everything, though. It's like
But
every single aspect.
and you see
of her
right now
life
what
is
you're doing.
just- oh no, I know, and it makes
Maybe
me
that's
it's a heavy negative feeling.
Yeah, and it is
But
very
it's
heavy, and you're right.
an awareness of, you know.
And your job is to point out, to help her
Yeah.
raise her awareness. So when you say, okay, and what's a good thing about your day? Did you
Yeah.
have a good cup of coffee this morning? Did you have
She
clean
probably
panties?
might have-
No, they burned
And-
the coffee and they spilled it on me.
And that's when you say, okay, I can't have this conversation anymore.
Yeah.
It's okay for you to respect your limits. And you've tried to shine the light into her darkness, and she's saying, no, I'm closing the shutters.
Yeah.
And she's welcome to make that.
It's very busy though, because I'm a
Yeah.
daycare provider,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I've got the kids around me, and then she's going like this, and I'm like, I've got.
You can just say, I'm sorry, I can't have this conversation.
Yeah.
Oh, what can I help you with, little Timmy?
Well, usually your child doesn't want to leave, so.
Gee, I wonder why.
I know. Your child doesn't want to leave, so. Yeah.
That's tricky.
Well,
Yeah, it is tricky. So I'm just trying to find a way that I could deal with that.
well, people used to call me CC for constant complaining.
Right.
Because you're at a restaurant and the service sucks or whatever. And I would say, no, I'm SFing. And they're like, what's SFing? I said, I'm stating a fact. The waitress sucks. Calling me CC because I'm stating the fact that the water has a bug in it or whatever it was. So, and so you get a different reaction.
Love it.
Then if you say, oh, I hate this.
Right.
Waitress sucks. Or, ooh, there's a bug. Well, I've had a life fly in my dinner, so that's not fun either. But that's constant. That's not complaining. That's saying to the restaurant, pay attention. And I never went back. So.
Yeah. Does anybody have any closing words they want to share with us before we end this discussion and move on to our healing portion?
Flies are just extra protein.
Pardon?
Flies are just extra protein.
You can have it.
I just wanted to make a statement to this lady's comment that what I feel when you were done talking was, what are you afraid of? Because to me, you're not owning your power with her, and because it's in your job, your business,
Yeah.
You're afraid of something, and that's probably what's keeping you where you are with her.
So what am I afraid of?
So yeah, you don't need to answer.
No,
now.
I don't know. I
I'm
don't
just
know.
kind of putting it out there.
But I'm trying to figure out what is triggering. What
And
is-
perhaps you don't need to know the trigger, but just to say, what is my next right step in this situation?
Mhm. I mean, she is a lovely woman. She's very kind. She is
But it's more
nice,
about
but
you.
it's just more, yeah.
It's more about
she's
you. It's
doing
not
to you.
about her.
Uh-huh.
Or
Right?
who's she reminding
She's
you
not
of?
your responsibility,
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
right? You can't own what she.
Well,
does
usually I
with what you
don't,
say.
I just let her talk. Like I don't want to engage in that conversation with her because I don't feel any of those things.
Do you have other people in your life, like your parents or anything like that? that
My
are
mother.
Negative like that to you?
Yeah. No.
And you're the one that you can't have a decent conversation about. Who is it? Who is that? Was that you? I can't remember.
No, not me. But I mean, yes, that is true.
It was one person who went negative all the time, and you can't ever win. So maybe you feel like that, like she's complaining and complaining.
Yeah.
And you maybe.
It's
feel
funny
like you're in
because
that
she
position.
does have the same issues with her mother as well, so I don't know.
I think you found your trigger.
Yeah,
Robin.
I think so too.
Yeah, I found my trigger. Mom.
Well, thank you
Yeah.
everyone for contributing to this lively discussion.
Oh, what's on video?
She doesn't know your name. It's okay. I'm not sending her the link.
She doesn't even use computer.
There you go.
We'll
You're
never
safe.
see it.
Thank you all for joining us today. We'll be here next week, and we hope to see you then. Bye.